are live. So, welcome back to the ThinkFast Nerdcast. We are now in the lifestyle portion. So once again, I am Chris.
And I am Sai.
And thank you for tuning in. So, when we left off last podcast, we were talking, or beginning to talk about regrets. So I feel like that's where we'll pick it up this week. We'll just, top of mind, as they say, we'll take one regret that you can think of, and then we'll move on from there. I've got lots of stuff on the docket here, so we'll see how many we can get through.
Ooh, I want to hear more about your docket.
That's what she said, eh?
That is a regret that I will chalk
that's what
into
she
this
said,
list
mate.
right now. Okay, yeah. Regrets, childhood, adulthood, both, neither. Okay.
Well, it's up to you. Just pick one that
Overall,
maybe stands out.
Okay. Overall lifestyle regrets, I think one of the things I wish I did differently was put more time into my education.
Yeah.
So when I was in school, in university, I think I goofed around a lot,
As
distracted.
did you all.
Yeah, it's a great time in your life because everything is happening to you all at once. That is how you learn time management, by not doing it well in the beginning.
Yep.
So if I could go back, change that, or the one thing I regret is just, picking the right courses, the right field of study,
Yep.
and just investing more into educational development. I think I spent a lot of my time into developing myself as a personality, which I don't regret. I just wish I did a balance.
Yeah, I mean, like, this podcast wouldn't be in place if you didn't develop your personality.
Not, no. Yeah, probably not.
So there was some good that came out of that, but yeah, regrets.
What about you?
Yes, I mean, everyone probably has a lot of regrets, but I would say mine is probably along the same lines as yours. Is that when I was younger, I really couldn't give two shits about school.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be bothered. I didn't really give a shit about getting a job either. So I really wish I would have focused a little bit more in school. And probably started. So biggest one I would say is saving. Because I've been
financial management.
Exactly. Because I've been working now for let's see, I started working when I was 16. So about 10 to 15 years. And I don't have much to show for it in terms of substantial amount of savings. So I really wish that I was a little bit better with my money when I was younger, which I'm sure a lot of our listeners can probably.
And that's the thing, when you start your first ever job where you're actually getting real money, not like the part-time or in
retail
school job. Yeah, retail.
Yeah.
But like when you actually get your first proper full-time job, career job.
Yeah.
The money that comes in, that is kind of a moment to either choose to put that into something aside or just kind of go and get everything that you ever wanted that you couldn't before for any one reason or another.
That is me.
Yeah, and I think that I'm a big victim to that as well. I wish I learned financial management. That should be a thing they teach you in school.
Yeah.
I 100% agree that there should be a course on things like what savings are, what credit is, all that type of stuff needs to be taught in school. But
because I can guarantee you what I haven't used is the Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah.
I haven't needed to know how to calculate the coefficient or
there were a few hypotenuses here and there that I figured out thanks to school, but for the most of it, I'm not looking for hypotenuses.
No, it's and that's the problem with the school system today, I feel, is that all of this is fantastic if you want to be a scientist or if you want to be an engineer or you want to be something that requires
which is something I wish I was, by the way.
But I think we all kind of wish that we had that.
Medicine is kind of huge, but blood freaks me out, so I don't regret not going into medicine. It scares me. I'm
sure if your parents were to listen to this podcast, they'd be like, he's still not a doctor.
If they were listening to me right now, they would find out I'm not a doctor. I'm kidding.
The veil would be lifted.
What?
The
He's not
revealed.
a doctor? Okay.
We're coming back to Canada. No, they live here, right?
Yeah. And I don't know why I did the British accent. It should have been more like this. Anyway, moving on. He's not a doctor? My God.
We're sending him back to India. Even though he's not from India, he's going back.
Now he's going to raise goats like he should have.
But so those are...
Sorry, Mom and Dad, for stereotyping you. You're not that brown.
Sorry to break it to you. But that being said, that's regrets. Now, let's lighten the mood a little bit. So I've got a nice little list here of dad jokes, courtesy of everyone's favorite source and most reliable source for news in 2018, BuzzFeed.
So we're going to sit you guys down, make you listen to a podcast where Chris goes over dad jokes.
Yep, where I go over dad jokes and try to get through them without laughing myself. So I'm going to skip over some of the really cheesy, lame ones that you probably already heard. And let's take a look and see what we got here.
You're already laughing.
I know. I'm the worst with this kind of thing.
The next topic.
So here's the first one. Whenever the cashier at the grocery store asks my dad if he would like the milk in a bag, he replies, "No, just leave it in the carton."
Wow.
Why do you... Okay, I'm not going to be able to do this. Why do chicken coops only have 2 doors? Because if they had 4, they would be chicken sedans. It's just, some of them.
A hillbilly humor. My chicken coop has 4 doors. Well, ain't that a chicken sedan?
Okay, so these are kind of lame. Here's one that I really like. 2 peanuts were walking down the street, and one was assaulted.
That is going to raise so many flags. Assault.
I used to have a job at a calendar factory, but I got fired because I took a couple of days off. Here's a super cheesy one. 2 guys walk into a bar. The third one ducks.
I've heard a variation of
that. That one's it's pretty out there.
Two men walk into a bar. They say, "Ouch."
Yeah, 2 men walk into a bar. Ouch. I had a dream that I was a muffler last night. I woke up exhausted.
Oh my!
The cringe is just so real.
There's a connotation where really cheesy jokes are called dad jokes.
Yeah, but they are. I mean, like, my dad would probably tell like almost every joke on this list.
One of the jokes my uncle said, which I found really funny at that point in time, he was like, "Oh, what is your 7th sense?" And I was like, "Oh God, I don't know." He goes, "Nonsense."
Oh, that is brutal, mate.
Cringeworthy.
Here's a good one. A 3-legged dog walks into a bar and says to the bartender, "I'm looking for the man who shot my paw."
I'm so glad you did the accent.
You have to, because
shot my paw. Okay.
Oh man. Oh, that's stupid. No, I'm not. No. No. Oh, I asked my dad for his best dad joke, and he said, "You." Oh, that's no.
I can't wait to make these jokes and have my child just be like, "God, Dad."
I just read one. Someone put one in the comments. Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this one. I read ahead and I shouldn't have. Okay, just give me a second. This always does it to me. Okay, so the creator of the Hokey Pokey died. They had a hard time closing the casket because every time they put his left foot in, his right foot would pop out. Oh my God, it hurts.
You okay?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. So that's it for that. Okay. I'm still laughing about that last one, but so let's get a little bit more personal now. Let's talk about some lovely stories from our past, and of course, since your wife might be listening, we'll probably try to choose the happier and more PG rated ones. But let's talk about, if you can recall, the first time that you ever got. Are we able to do this one?
Yeah.
Is that okay? So let's talk about the first time you ever got
intoxicated.
Yes, the first time you ever got drunk.
Okay. Drinking story. I don't really have one that funny. I do have a high story actually.
Oh.
And this one is the most
saucy.
Yeah, it came from the left field whenever I think about it. So I went to the dentist at school.
Yeah.
This was university, so they had a clinic there, I had to get a root canal.
Hmm.
And
Ooh.
so the doctor said, he got ready for the surgery, and he asked me, he's like, "Do you want laughing gas?" And I was like, "Sure, sure." I've always heard about it. I was like, "Okay."
I've heard good things.
Yeah, exactly. And then right before he puts it on, he tells me, "Oh, this is what it feel like if you were high."
Oh.
And he put it on. It was the best thing that has ever happened to me. The whole time he's trying to operate on me, I'm actually talking about a Beyonce song playing on TV. And he'd just be like, sir, could you just stop talking right now? I'm actually drilling your tooth. I'm like, yeah, but Beyonce's got it going on.
So, so if it wasn't your wife, it could have been Beyonce. That's what you're saying.
Well, no, I was just admired Beyonce from far. Just
like in that window. As with most of us, but that's pretty good. So for that, how? So when you were saying this, did he give you like the full thing of it?
Yeah,
or
and then at first he kept
sample?
asking me, he's like, "Oh, are you getting any? Is this affecting you?" I was like, "No, and it just kind of hits you all of a sudden, right?" And I'm like,
"So your dentist asked you if you were getting any?"
"Oh yeah," and I was like, "No, give me more."
It's like, well, it depends on the week.
So, and then finally, I didn't know, my body didn't know what it meant to get high or have the laughing gas affect you.
Yeah.
So I just kept saying, no, I'm not getting affected at all. And then I wasn't realizing that I'm actually getting really...
So here he is in the corner, just keeps turning the knob all the way up.
Yeah, and then they're
to
like,
the danger
okay,
zone.
this is like not healthy that you're asking for so much, but okay, whatever, we're going to give you more. So then after the surgery, my dad comes to pick me up, and I'm still buzzed, like a lot. And then my dad's driving me home, and the whole time I'm talking about, like, Dad, I'm so glad I moved out. I've learned so much living with you. You do everything for me. I could not have learned anything.
You had an epiphany.
Yeah, and then my dad's just like, okay. Because he thought it was just the drugs talking. It's actually my emotions.
Oh, so that's what got brought to the surface.
Yeah, that's what I chose to tell my dad about my entire. He's like, "How's your surgery?" I'm just glad I moved out, Dad. What?
Okay, but how was your surgery? No. You did so much for me, Dad. I just really want you to.
Thank you for everything, but
okay.
I'm like a grown man now. He's like, yeah, okay. Man gets one root canal, thinks he's a grown man.
That's funny. I've never had that kind of an experience. I've never actually been high in any real form.
Sorry, that's really awesome. I don't mean to.
No, probably the closest I've ever been to any feeling of high is when I got my blood taken and I stood up too fast. That's probably the closest thing.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say, like, if you just stop breathing for a while. But I held my breath for too long.
Yeah, and then that was it. I was seeing all sorts of shit.
So, based on that, the dentist screwed me over for a couple of years, because then he said that's what it felt like to get high right before he put me under. And I want to replicate that, because that was the most cleanest high I've ever gotten in my life. So then the next day, a bunch of people are smoking up. They're smoking hash. Oh, sorry, no, a kush. Sorry. And they're talking about like how great that is and all that. I was like, okay, yeah, give me some. It's gonna be like the dentist office. They're like, what? I'm like, nothing. Let's move past that. So
just put it in my hand.
Yeah. So same thing happens. I take a puff. I take a couple puffs.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it at all. Again, my body does not know how to react to this kind of thing, and then all of a sudden, the room starts to shift. Right, it goes sideways, and then I realize, and I'm like, guys, the room is moving sideways. They're like, no, you just tipped over. So I was sitting on the carpet, I fell over.
So this is tying into last week's podcast when we talked about your
balances.
Your balance.
Get me a little bit of a head rush, and I've lost all balance. So then I leave the party. I leave the house party. I'm like, this is a fun buzz. I hate you guys though, so I'm just gonna leave. So I'm walking from their house to my, which is like about a block away.
Yeah.
So I'm walking, and this is at nighttime. As I'm walking, I'm going through streetlights.
Yeah.
And every time I go through a streetlight, the shadow moves from in front of me to behind me.
Okay.
And
yeah,
that
I can see
scared me, and I was like, oh God, I'm either being followed or attacked or both. I'm being followed by a guy who's in front of me. Then he jumps right. So I try to run and try to outrun my shadow. And the whole time I'm just dodging. I'm so glad there was nobody on the streets, because if somebody saw me, that's like...
Seeing some guy just like...
Not just like... It's run and then try to deke it out, like as if I'm playing football. And I'm just trying to like
you're about to get blitzed by your own shadow.
And I'm not going anywhere. It's still stuck to my feet. And I'm like,
I can just picture your thought process. Like you're looking at this thing and you're like, this guy knows all my moves.
Yeah. In front of me, behind me. What's going on? Now he's again in front of me. Now there's two of them.
Oh,
good one, mate. Good one. finally I come to my building, it has a lot of lights. I'm like, thank God I got rid of the bastard.
I lost him.
Security.
then you close the door to your house and turn on the lights, and you're like, huh?
Oh, that happened. That happened. I scared myself because the reflection in the mirror looked different. I just passed out. I want to message my family and be like, I did it.
Woke up on the balcony.
Just kind of let them know that I've crossed over to the dark side.
Yeah. Dad, I want you to know how much you really did for me.
I'm still happy I moved out.
But oh my God, I have no son.
He's messaging again.
I think he got another tooth out. No, that's funny.
That's my first experience. Never been the same again. And I stopped trying to replicate it because when your body, it doesn't know what's happening to it, it reacts very differently. Now that it knows what's going to happen, it's a little bit more sane.
Yeah.
Normal. I don't do it anymore just because it's counterproductive. That's actually one of the things I regret. A lot of my time in university
getting into that
was not spent on education because I was having a lot of fun discovering new parts of my brain.
But I feel like that's the time to do it. I mean, like obviously after that, that's the time when you grow up, you smarten up, you know, start committing to being an adult.
Yeah, and see, during all of high school, I was a straight arrow, nothing at all, like no cigarettes, no nothing. I had a girlfriend that was to me like a big thing. I was like, okay, that's about as far away as I'm gonna get from my education is having a girl. But then in university, you have so much time to yourself. You have, especially when you live alone, you have all these thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
The first time I smoked a cigarette, it was like I felt cool. It's this, you know, the negative connotation with it back in the day in the movies and all that. Everybody would smoke, and they'd be like the cool the characters or whatever. So I smoked about 9 in a row.
Oh my!
And then I threw up. Yeah, because it would finish. I would start smoking it, and I'd make poses.
That's
and
how
I'd
smoking works, yeah.
And then, you know, and then the cigarette would run. I was like, okay, but I still haven't done all the poses I wanted to do with it.
So let me get this. Oh, so this is in front of the mirror.
Yeah,
I thought you might have been taking pictures of yourself.
No. I was just in front of the mirror in the bathroom smoking, and then I would try to blow out smoke rings,
like a ring. Okay.
Yeah, and I try to do all these cool things. I try to exhale from my nose.
Yeah.
Through my teeth like a biggie. Yeah. Next thing you know, I'm 9 cigarettes in and I throw up. So that was my first time smoking.
Well, so I've never been really a smoker, but
good. Don't get into it. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, that's what everybody tells me, and even my mom, who's a heavy smoker, I'm always trying to tell her like, ugh. But so it was never really my thing. But when I'm drinking and when I get rather intoxicated, that's when, you know, the feeling comes across me, which is really weird because like I don't smoke at all when I'm sober. I have no desire to do it at whatsoever. When I'm drunk, like if I see a cigarette, I'm like, oh, pass me it. I'll take a few. So the one night when I was quite intoxicated, I went through not 9, but probably maybe 4.
Wow.
4 or 5 back to back, and I got home and I threw up. Yeah. Like, and it wasn't from the alcohol because I don't throw up from alcohol unless
it's a different throw up. It's like tar.
Almost. Yeah, it's like you're literally like you're losing a lung.
Yeah.
But that was not a fun feeling. So I never, like, from then on, it was like at the most, even when I'm really, really drunk, like 1. Mm-hmm. And even then it's like, ugh. But shifting gears a little bit. So we talked about the first time getting drunk. We'll touch on something maybe a little bit more risque. Now I'm not even sure if you have a story like this. But and here he is, sorry. Creating feedback in the bloody chat again. You
I love doing it. It's 4 of us now, mate.
but so I'm sure we've all had the maybe not all of us, but I'm sure some of us
specific.
Yes, have had situations where we've been with a lady friend or a man friend, in this case, and you know. Events are taking place and the parents come home or the family member comes home or you didn't lock the door or whatever the case may be, and surprise, you know, you either get caught or close to getting caught. So do you have any stories of getting caught or being close to getting caught? Now, we don't need to go too much into detail, but just generally.
It's okay. So I brought a girl home. And
last night? No. I'm just kidding. I am completely kidding. We're going to cut this out of the future broadcast.
No. So actually, it was my wife. At that time, she was my girlfriend. So we're
now the story's sweet.
You could say last night. Anyway, but
now she's never tuning in
ever. But anyway, so we got busy.
Yeah.
We thought nobody was home, or nobody was home at the point where I brought her home, and we were really loud.
Oh, thin walls.
Thin walls.
Yeah.
Then we didn't realize when they came home or what happened. So when we were done, sometime later,
oh no,
we're like, we're so glad we're alone. And we're like, we're so glad we're alone that nobody heard us. And then we heard footsteps, like noises downstairs. And we're like, oh shit.
Oh no.
So when did they walk in? How long have they been hearing us? So
did they say anything to you guys?
No, I no. I really don't think it's a comfortable conversation for a parent to have either. Some are more comfortable to talk about, catching their kids
in the act.
But because mine knew that I was gonna marry we were dating for quite a few years at that point, like a long time. We were pretty much all married at that point as well. So we weren't doing anything, too much out of the ordinary. It was just we were really loud. We weren't careful.
None of that questionable. Yeah. None of those questionable things. So
it's one of those scenarios where it might have sounded worse.
Okay, so the hearing it sounded much worse than what was actually going on. Yeah, I get you. But in this kind of a scenario, you didn't actually get caught. But what do you think? How do you think that your parents would have reacted if you did get caught?
See, my family's a little bit different. They never had that conversation with me. You know what I mean? Like
they never had the talk?
They didn't have the talk.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they have it in them to have the talk. I don't know if they did to my older siblings, and then they just kind of lost all faith in that talk.
Yeah.
But, I honestly, I can't. I would really, really, really die of embarrassment. I think it's just, and I think they would die of embarrassment.
Yeah, I think it would be mutual,
or they would just not bring it up ever, and they're just like, "Dear God, I hope
we're just gonna pretend that this never happened.
Leave the house now."
Yes, and put a sock on the door, put a tie on the door.
See, they wouldn't even know what that means. They're just like, "Why is your sock on the?" Oh,
honey, you left your sock on the. Oh my God. Again, I don't know if your parents have accents, but that's the accent.
Not only are you doing the dirty, but you leave a fucking sock on the door. What is wrong with you?
Can't even get your laundry in order. Oh my God. How has this woman agreed to be with you?
And I think it's harder to raise a son because you would catch them having their intimate time to themselves.
It's okay. So
before we get to that, you share your story.
Oh yes. Okay. So I'll mark this down so that we can come back to this.
No, it's okay.
So in my story of nearly getting caught I come from I would say a pretty religious background, pretty religious upbringing. Myself, I'm not so much practicing. I have my core beliefs, but I'm not actively, as into it as they are. But, on occasion, I would bring a lady friend home.
On occasion.
Yeah.
Only on birthdays.
Special occasions, New Year's, Labor Day.
Chinese New Year.
And days that end in Y. But yeah. So on this particular occasion, this was a pre-girlfriend, so it was not my girlfriend yet, but we were, talking, dealing, whatever term was. But so events were happening. And usually I have a pretty good ear for when people are coming in and out of the house, or even when a car arrives. So in my old house, how it was my room was over the garage, and my window faced out, to where the door is and all that stuff. So usually I could hear if the garage door opened or if a car pulled in or whatever the case may be. But on this night, they didn't park in the garage. They parked in the driveway. They must have tiptoed to the door. I don't know what it was, or maybe I was just too focused on whatever was going on.
That's the issue.
I feel like that was it.
So multitask that way.
So in addition to that, in my room, there was no lock on the door. because my parents didn't believe in locks.
Okay.
On my door. Well, they had a lock on their door.
Right.
And the bathroom. And every other room in the house. But no, not my door. So, well, to be fair, my door didn't even fully close properly. Like, you had to do, like, some freaking... Like, you had to, like, hold it at a 42-degree angle while you're pushing perpendicular, and then it would close. So, it was a whole thing. But, so I was pushing them for so long to get a lock on my door, and they were probably in their head like, yeah, okay, buddy, we know what you want a lock on your door for. So no, if anything, we're going to take the door off and just have it like
glass
completely open concept. But no, so they came home. So my dad came home. It was my dad. And so what I used to have to do was I had a dresser. So I would push the dresser in front of the door.
Oh, wow.
So that you can't open the door, like a barricade, basically. Oh, wow. So I would
be concerned for the female friend in your room. Yeah. Why am I being locked in?
Yeah, I guess I must have explained to her ahead of time, or whatever the case may be. But so he comes home, and I don't know that he's home. And he obviously has a rule about having girls in my room at night with the door closed, whatever. So he must have heard and knew that there was someone there. So he comes up, and I don't really hear him. I'm still not hearing him come through the house. I don't know what the problem was, but so, and all of a sudden, bang! Like my door opens, and like, because he's trying to, like, he's expecting that there's nothing in front of the door,
right? So
he's expecting to burst into my room. Yeah. So he hits the door hits the dresser, and like stops and like goes brrrm, and like kind of shakes, and then. And so obviously we're like, things are happening. It's like, oh my God, what? Oh, okay. So thankfully, like, the dresser weighed like 1,000,000 pounds. So we were good on that front, but we almost took the door off the hinges.
Oh, wow.
But it was super embarrassing. Like, especially like, because you have to think about the other person, right? Yeah. Like, I don't really give a shit. Like, if it's just me by myself and like I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, like playing a violent video game or something, and I get caught, that's a whole different thing than like, but the other person, like, this is someone that, you might have around more than once, and like now your parents know. So that was really, that was really embarrassing. And
so one true story about my girlfriend, when I was 14 years old, it was my birthday. She wanted to come over to my house.
So girlfriend, wife, or girlfriend?
Ex-girlfriend. She wanted to come over and surprise me on my birthday, like, because I used to sleep in late, so she knew that. So
used to.
Oh, right, yeah. So she comes over to the house, rings the doorbell. My mom answers the door, and she's like, "Can I come in? I want to surprise him." She goes, "No."
Oh.
He's not allowed to have female friends.
And okay.
She's like, "No, who are you? Why are you
letting a female go to his room by himself?"
So then she actually had to go back, get one of my guy friends. So then my guy friend came, rang the door. My mom let him in, and then he snuck her in when she was looking. So
smart.
Well, not really. And then my mom was like, "I thought I told you not to come in."
She
ran into him later. When my mom ran into my ex, who had already surprised me at that point. I was awake, and anyway, we're just hanging in our room now. There's 3 of us, and that my friend is just "Bro, why am I here?"
Yeah,
right. I get what I had to do, but
can I go? No.
And she's like, "No, don't leave, because then
we might get killed."
Yeah, pretty much. And then when finally I got dressed, brushed my teeth, got ready, and then
so he wasn't dressed. Let's just.
Well, I mean, in PJs, right? So, one that I wish my guy friend did not see.
No wonder he was like, "Can I go? Like, do I need to be there for this?
I don't need to come in, do I?" But anyway,
no, stay. Like, nothing on. Hey, no, it's
please,
all good.
I will never speak to this man
I'm really
again.
uncomfortable. I want to go. Can I just... No.
Just sitting there closing his eyes. Facing the wall.
It doesn't help. I already saw it.
No, and then at that point, then we're like, okay, let's go get, brunch, lunch, whatever. And then we're all leaving, and my mom's like, okay, have a good time. Happy birthday. And she goes, "You."
Oh, no.
I thought I told you not to come in. Anyway, so it was more embarrassing for her than it is for me. I'm like, I don't know. I just woke up with people in my room, so I was scared.
I didn't know what was going on.
I was sleeping.
Okay, so for this story, like, you didn't... So,
I didn't invite them. They
okay,
came
so
over.
you didn't tell the friend... You didn't tell her to go get the friend to get her.
No.
Okay,
that was all them.
Okay, so then
at the time, but more embarrassing for her.
Yeah, wasn't really your fault then.
No.
I
still got shit for it though.
Yeah, well, obviously. I mean, your parents are brown. You're gonna get in shit. Like, there's a girl in your house. It doesn't matter who brought them in. They could have descended through the ceiling.
I may not even know her.
Yeah. It could be a robber who broke into the house. I thought I told you not to have.
You do this business outside.
That's good.
What, get robbed outside? Yes.
Can't even get robbed in the comfort of your own home.
Without having an explanation.
And then the robbers are like, "Can I go? Do I need to be here for this?"
I'm the one who's promising my mom I'll never do it again and get robbed. Anyway.
But so you mentioned that in this case it is difficult having a son for that kind of reason.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I feel like it's going to be a lot more difficult if I have a daughter, because if she dares to have that kind of...
If there's any guy in my daughter's life, I will immediately go on the offensive.
Yep.
And be like, I will break you in half.
Every single part of your body will become detached.
With my bare hands, just rip you in half. But I think, like, okay, so that is the extent to which, okay, they have a partner, and then that is concerning either case. I think parents will be concerned either way.
Yeah.
But like with boys at a young age, they start to discover things, and it's you see it on all these
movies,
and all these TV shows, and all that. So I'm sure, like, just walking in and then there it is, and then the kids trying to have their own time, and you're like, oh god,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I just feel like that, and you can't really see. The hard part is like pretty much every guy does that. Or like every guy will do that or has done it or something like that. You know what I mean? So,
and that's the thing, and that's why I never really understand. Well, I mean, in a way, I do. Of course, I understand. Like your parents, you have to try, but your kids are gonna find a way to do what they want to do, right? So so I feel that it's more important to educate them, and like with you, like to have the talk and just be like, hey, like I know this is gonna happen. I don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
And don't do it in my house.
But I can't control what happens.
But if it happens,
at least do it in a way that it's not going to come bite you in the...
Exactly. Exactly. Make sure everything is safe. Make sure, you have respect for yourself and that this is someone who's going to treat you properly, whatever the case may be. Like, just, I think that's the more important thing than more than protecting them from that, just educating them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like...
But there has to be a way that you do it, right? Because if you come off really strong, you could easily embarrass your child,
of course,
and break and close that door completely. That they don't want to have these kind of conversations with you. Like having, a child talk to a parent about this kind of stuff is difficult, and for both parties. So
you've publicly announced the gender, right?
Yes, I'm having a daughter.
Yes, so Syed, I will be checking in with him in about 17 years, to see how that's going.
Well, I mean, when she's born in the hospital, that's the only time she's allowed to step out of the house.
Yeah.
After that, okay.
That's the only time she's allowed to be around other
like,
men.
Dad, can I go out? I was like, you already were out. You were in the hospital when you were born. That's it.
Yeah,
no more stepping out of the. No, I'm kidding.
I want to go hang out with my friend. Is it a boy or a girl? It's a boy. No, you can't. I'm sorry.
That's one thing that I feel like. I know my wife is going to be really strict about this.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's my job then to sort of. I can back my wife up.
Yeah.
Right. Or I can sort of like step back from it. I think I'll be a little bit more the chill one. Like I actually want. I decided this before I knew the gender, but even after knowing the gender, it still stands. I want my child and my daughter to move out at the age of 18, even if it's for university, college. I want them to live on campus because I want.
That
I did it, and I tried to tell my dad that when I was on Laughing Gas, but it didn't come out this way. But
please,
and there's a lot that you learn from it. You learn to take care of yourself. You learn not to take your parents for granted when they give you food, money, shelter, clothes. Like when they provide for you, if you don't know what it's like to fend for yourself, you will never know how much you really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So I want that to happen, and of course, I know what can happen, and like my daughter may go out and hang out with guys. Obviously she's entitled to do so because I think she should. I don't think cutting her off from men or anything like that makes
the answer,
or it's really not the answer. So I want to teach her. I want her to know, like, be careful of guys and this kind of thing. But that's sort of the same talk I'd have with my son.
Yeah.
Is be careful of certain types of women. Be careful of anyone, man or woman, trying to take advantage of you.
Exactly.
Right? It could be a friend. It doesn't have to be a partner.
Yeah.
It could be
it's universal.
Coworker, friend. Anything.
There's guys who act inappropriately. There's girls who act inappropriately. It's not universal or specific to one gender.
Yeah.
It's just very much a conversation
And
that
that's
you can
just
have.
advice on life.
Yeah.
Be careful of bad people. That's basically a very large umbrella, but a lot of divisions of that too.
Yeah, and like you said, it is important to support your partner, like to back up your wife or husband or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, it's an expectation that one parent is likely going to be a little bit more strict than the other, or one parent's going to approach things a little bit differently. So while you can still be on the same page, the approaches can be very different. And I feel like it's important to have that comfortability with your children, that they can feel that they can be honest with you.
Yeah. And I don't want to keep driving the wrong message. You know what I mean? Like if my wife says something in a certain way, I notice that it's not working or my child is not responding to it the way that we expected them to. So I don't want to keep doing the same thing just in the sense of supporting my wife. But then the child hates both of us. And he's not going to be the good guy.
and from what I've found, and it's not a universal truth, but what I found as an indicator is that people of both genders who were very restricted in their upbringing tend to become more wild as soon as they get out of the house and as soon as they have the opportunity to do things. Because like, wow,
on their own.
This is everything that I've been protected from.
And see, the worst part about that is they don't know how to control it and they don't know how to identify threats.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So they're out there, they're finally have their freedom and they're saying yes to everything, but if you educate them ahead of time, they know what's good for them, what's within the boundaries of, when they want to be wild, nobody has to have something bad happen to them.
Yeah.
Right? So you're just trying to have some fun. But this kind of stuff is important because you know exactly what kind of fun that you're suited for, what kind of fun is beyond your control.
Exactly.
And that's the whole idea is to like, if you're going to go wild, that's going to happen because you're going to reach that age, boy or girl, or anything in between.
Oh yeah, it's universal.
Yeah, you're gonna have a moment in your teenage life or young adult life where you just kind of discover things and you just kind of go out there.
So what time period was that for you, like age wise? Like between what years would you say were your experimental kind of wild days?
From 18 up to 20, mid 20s, like 20, 24.
Okay.
I just recently learned how to be an adult. A lot of trial and error.
For me, it was probably 21 to 25. Because for me, I started all that stuff kind of late. Like I was late to that whole scene. Like I was very like a boring youth. Like I didn't get into a lot of trouble or into like any kind of wild stuff until I was 18 or 19, and then not even fully until I was like 20. When I went off to college, that's when it was. Yeah.
See, as a child, I was a hardcore nerd. Like I was in part of the chess club. I was really good at it. Yeah, like I was really into like
checkmate,
sciences, chess club, Pokemon. So I had a very limited range. So fun didn't come my way.
Yeah,
just because my fun. Nobody wanted to take this kid out and go wild with him because he's like, But when I reached university, I was a little bit more. I knew how to kind of like come off and make a better first impression. I didn't just go straight into Pokemon when I met somebody. So people were like, okay, let's invite him to parties. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, so I'm actually invited to a party for once. Wow, how things change.
It's like, isn't this the fucking guy that plays Pokemon while he's playing chess? Like,
now,
what is he doing?
Now, I had a roommate. He was new to the country. He was a permanent resident, but he only came for vacation and got his citizenship and stuff. But he hadn't lived here for...
So an FOB, as they're called.
Yes.
Okay.
And I felt really bad because we were friends from before. I did my high school the last 2 years of in Pakistan, and that's where we became friends. And then we both ended up in the same university, which is York U.
Oh, yes.
Represent.
Yeah. Seneca at York.
Yeah. What? And I felt really bad because I would actually meet people, and I didn't have an accent or anything. So, I'd make new friends. I actually attended things like Frosh Week and all this type of stuff, activities around campus they had. So I used to go out to them to meet people. And then I would go and be like, okay. He'd be like, oh, what are you doing? It's a Friday night. What are you doing tonight? I said, well, I'm going to a party with this other group of people from like fine arts program, whatever. He's like, can I come?
Oh, no.
But it wasn't like that. He was like, can I come?
Yeah. Kind of like with his hat in his hands, like, sir?
Yeah, literally. And then I'll be like, okay. So I took him out a couple times. I didn't deny him that. I was like, okay, just because of the way you are, it's fine. I think you're a great guy. You're funny, whatever. I'm sure you'd be.
But we're just friends.
Well, no, I'm kidding. We were roommates. Anyway, so at that point,
experimental years.
that's not the wild I was talking about. Anyway, so people liked him.
Yeah.
He was funny and all that, but then some people laughed at him.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't know that. And then the worst part of it all was that he was creepy.
Oh, one of those.
So yeah, I mean, he didn't know how to approach women, although he tried a lot. I'm surprised he didn't learn it because they told him that whatever you're doing is not working. Stop it. You're
Do the opposite of whatever you're doing right now.
Yeah, but he kept approaching women, and he thought it would be funny to be like more fobbier, so he'd be extra fobby.
Yeah.
And it didn't really lead anywhere. Then he stopped getting invited. And they'd be like, okay, Sai, you can come, but please don't bring your roommate. Like the people actually would tell me that, and I don't know how to break it to him. He's like, oh, it's this guy's party again, so I'm gonna go again, right? I was like, about that. Actually, you know what, dude? I'm not going.
Yeah. I'm not
I'm just gonna step out for like a little bit.
Yeah, unrelated. I'm gonna go out and have a 4-hour smoke.
Yeah.
So...
And I'm gonna call my mom at at a club. So please don't follow me. But yeah, because he would follow me.
Oh,
he's like, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? I'm like, oh god.
So he was like like a little brother.
Yeah.
Take me with you, sir, please.
Where are you going? I'm going to hell.
Are there women there? Like, no, it's all male.
And I tried to have a talk with him. I was like, listen, dude, these are people that I actually want to stay friends with, so please don't drive them away. Please don't hit on every woman you see. It's not a bad idea to just make female friends. It doesn't have to lead to anything. You can just be friends with them.
No, what? That's possible?
He's like, no. I want to touch them. You're not coming with me because you're going to go to jail. You're going to get expelled.
Like, they know that we're roommates.
And he used to wear like a jacket 3 sizes too large.
Okay.
So he just
I guess it's better than 3 sizes too small, but still.
But he'd be like swimming in his jacket.
And he would wear it indoors at the party.
in June.
Oh my God. So, did you ever see that Seinfeld episode where George buys the puffy jacket? The big.
No.
I'm going to show you the picture of it. The Gore-Tex.
Oh. See,
something like that.
Something like that, except in a really disgusting teal blue color with orange stripes.
Oh, that's such. Oh my God.
You know those sports jackets, like those ski jackets?
Yes. So, like, if you crash somewhere in the mountains, they'll be able to see you from the helicopter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But you wear that to a party.
He just doesn't want to get lost.
And then people know right away he's coming. They're like, you want to shut the party down?
Those are just
hide
like
your women, hide your kids.
Genuine creep colors. Like he's flying the creep flag.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's up to nowadays.
Oh, he's doing well for himself. He's married now. We're still in touch. We're still great friends.
Oh,
and,
okay. So I guess he changed up the game.
Well.
It was arranged.
Like I said, his core personality was fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He's a great guy, actually. He's doing huge things for where he is. He's in the music industry as well.
Yeah.
He has his own studio. So he's doing great things. And yeah, it's just, at that age too, again, like I said, you're discovering, if you haven't had that kind of freedom, you kind of explode when you have that freedom and you just kind of channel it in all the wrong places. So
yeah.
That's what happened to him, and that's what happened to me. I went towards drinking, smoking, like experimenting, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Whereas, he lost friends.
Oh, that's rough. Well, I feel like we have all had that one friend in our life that, they always want to go to what you want to go to, but, they don't really click with those people. Like maybe they don't get social skills at the same rate that you did, or
and then what ends up happening is that you have multiple social groups.
Yes.
And that's kind of the best way to deal with it, because if you try to mix them all together, it's
it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But on that topic, I feel like one of the problems these days, and one of the problems way back from when I was in school, was bullying. Bullying has always been an issue, and like I'm guilty myself. Like when I was little, like kids are ruthless, like, and it becomes like this gang mentality where like you want to impress your friends, and then like everybody kind of gets in on it, and it sucks because like so we were on the topic of regrets, and that just brings it to my mind. That's one of my regrets, is that I really wish I could contact some of those people that I like was mean to in middle school and be like, hey man, like I was an asshole. Like I hope you're doing really well in your life. Like I just want to say I was an asshole. Like I'm really sorry. Like that's not who I am as a person, because like you're not. Hopefully, no one is who they are as a little kid, right? Yeah, like you grow up, you mature, and you don't realize these things until like much later on in your life and how they affect people. Yeah. And so if anybody happens to listen to this at any point now or in the future, and if I ever bullied you, I'm really sorry. I was a little shit. So let's just get that out of the way.
So you weren't on the receiving end?
No, I wasn't on the receiving end. So that wasn't until high school. In high school, I was on the receiving end, but middle school, I had a pretty solid group of friends, and I was one of the more popular people, popular or infamous, depending on how you want to look at it. But so I never really dealt with that until I got to high school, and then in high school, I hated high school because of that, because people would always bully me and stuff. Like, well, number one, I was like 20 pounds heavier than I am now. So I was kind of a chubby. So as you know, that's one of the big triggers for people's like fatty, chubby, whatever. Yeah. And then like the choice of music that I would listen to, like everybody knew, like I have really wildly diverse musical tastes, but like I liked boy bands. Like I liked Backstreet Boys, I liked NSYNC and that kind of stuff. But like in high school, that was considered gay or stupid or whatever.
I remember that term too.
Yeah. So like that didn't make things very pleasant for me. And you know what? Like sometimes it's karma, right? Like I guess it took that to really make me realize the impact that I might have had on other people when I treated them like that. And it's a shitty feeling. Like even though what they're saying might not be true, like it's just, you know, we never realize what kind of emotional and mental and impacts that this can have, and like the blow to your self-esteem. Like it can cause developmental problems, like that's been proven. But it's just like I hope to raise my children, and I'm sure everybody feels this way. I'm sure you feel the same way. I hope to raise my children better than I was. Yeah. So
with bullying, that is one aspect that we really cannot protect our child against, especially now cyberbullying is a thing.
Oh yeah.
So I was on the receiving end throughout. Like I said earlier, I was in the chess club, I was into Pokemon. That's foreshadowing for sure.
Those are like all the boxes ticked off.
But see, that wasn't where it was difficult. Like I had a group with me. I had the rest of chess club. Yes, they're not a force to be like no one's afraid of the chess club kids, but
like you show up with your gang of chess people.
Yeah, and they're just
checkmate,
like,
bitches,
with their puffers and glasses. No, but like that's not where it was terrible for me. That was fine because there was cool kids and like captain of teams and stuff like that, and I just didn't associate with them because I was like, I knew, like I just stay out of their way. Yeah. And they don't notice me and I don't notice them, so it's just I'm not, I know where I am in this social chain,
in this dynamic.
Food chain, yeah. But it's actually when I went to Manchester for the first years of high school, that's when things got rough, because at that point it was 7-Eleven bombers. So they were a bunch of buses in London it was a result of a terrorist attack who were Muslim. So that led to a huge like Islamophobia kind of thing, and then it was all over the news that be careful of terrorists, blah blah. And I was in a predominantly Caucasian school. It was me and like maybe 3 other guys who were actually colored. So there was like one other Muslim, like 2 black kids, and it was me and the other 2 black kids. The Muslim guy was kind of a nerd, so I actually bullied him too. But they used to look at me and call me terrorist.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I actually had a lot of racial bullying. So and I fought against people, like physically I got into fights and all that, but that didn't lead anywhere. I got suspended, and then like
you got suspended.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
I couldn't catch a break at that point.
That's so weird. Like it's funny how the person being attacked, like the person who's
is equally in trouble.
It's
and like no one wants to be the victim, and no one wants to. So, but at that point, I didn't know how to deal with bullying, and I don't think I'm the best person to give any advice on how to deal with bullies. So my reaction was just to start a fight, and then that it didn't lead anywhere. And nothing came out of it, because then people made fun of my religion. And the fact that I lost in a fight, so because they'd be like me against like 20 white kids, and they're like,
we beat up a terrorist.
Yeah, and they were like those skinheads, the British people who are like heavy into football.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And they were like,
boy, we beat up a fucking terrorist, mate.
Yeah, and they were like 13 going to pubs, getting drunk over Liverpool.
Yeah, so the term for them is hooligans.
Yes. And I don't have anything against British people at all, but it's just that at that point in time it was very unfortunate. And then when I moved back to Pakistan for the last 2 years of high school, I was like, okay, you know what? I got away from the Islamic terrorist stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, cool, I'm back in my own country. But they were racist to me too. Pakistanis were racist towards me as well, because I'll tell you why. Because I had an English, like a Canadian accent.
You had a posh accent.
I was really, really like westernized.
Yeah.
The way I walked, the way I talked, the way I wore my clothes. Women would come to me and like I made a lot of female friends because they're like, "Oh, your accent's so cool, blah blah.
Yeah.
Where are you from?"
Not much has changed.
And I tell them my story, and they're like, "Oh, okay, you're from North America. That's fucking huge." But then the guys would be like, "Oh, bro, you're not a local." You know what I mean? So like, I've experienced racism when you're not part of the culture, and I've experienced racism when you're actually part of a culture, but you're not in that specific stream. So
I just feel like anytime,
that's the worst.
Yeah, when people will find a way to marginalize you, regardless of what the situation is.
So that's exactly why I don't blame white people, or I don't blame English people for treating me like a terrorist, because my own people it did it to me, and I'm Pakistani, so I was like, okay, I got away from it. But there's a second type of racism that comes out of it when it's your own people, but you're like, oh, you don't belong with us, you're different. So but that's when I learned how to deal with the bullying that I was getting, and that was to talk back. It wasn't aggressive, so I didn't show that it got to my skin.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you know what, this is something that I can deal with. So I used to make a joke about it, but then I would kind of insult them back, and then that's where I kind of developing my insult game. Yeah. To a point where people are like, all right, he's not offended.
Let's leave him alone.
B, he's offending me, and I'm offended. So yeah, I mean, it never went away. Yeah, it was still there. It was still in the background. I would hate walking into school past a certain hallway because I knew they'd be there. The people who pick on me. So yeah, that paranoia was still there. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm not the best person to advise how to get over bullying. It's different.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The same thing happened around 9/11. Of course, when that huge thing happened, and at my high school, there were Sikhs who wore turbans and stuff like that. So like, they're not even Muslim, and they're being called Osama bin Laden and all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's shitty, and it's shameful behavior, and it sucks that that's how it has to be. But again, I just hope to raise my kids to be better than that, and to learn that kind of stuff is out there, and that's stuff that they may experience, and just to prepare them for that the proper way. But so we talked a little bit about roommates. You mentioned your roommate and your circle of friends and things like that. Who would you say was your best friend growing up, or even like through your
So I've had a few. I never really had a best friend. Yeah. Like, it's just because I moved so many times from middle school to high school to another high school. So yeah, I never made it. But I actually can't remember one certain person. For most of my university life, it was my wife now. Before that, I just kind of knew how to get along with everybody. I'd learned to, just sort of be very neutral with my personality, and sort of highlight different parts of my personality to get into different social circles. I realized that that's not the best way to make friends. Yeah. Which is why I never made a best friend. Okay. Every friendship had a purpose, or like a perk to it, but then it kind of, I learned certain parts of life that I wish I didn't. Or like somebody got me into some sort of habit that I kind of regret having now, like smoking and all this and that. So I don't know. That's hard. I don't think I've ever had a best friend.
Okay, Chris. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. I've had what I consider to be a best friend through middle school, and just because we liked a lot of the same things, we played a lot of the same games, which was big for a kid, obviously. And we would hang out all the time. We would have sleepovers at each other's houses and stuff. But like, I would say who really was my best friend, and like, I would say still is really to this day. So when I was growing up, I would spend a lot of time in Quebec because I have family out there, and I would spend whole summers there because my parents obviously wanted time to themselves. School's out, so they would drop me off at my aunt's house in Quebec, and I would have a great time because I had a neighbor who was literally like the distance between this house and the house beside. That's how close they were. Okay. So He didn't speak much English and I didn't speak much French, so it was a bit of a learning curve, like trying to communicate. But yeah, like we would just always hang out, always play games together, always like chill outside, baseball, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And like just year after year after year, we would just grow up together. And like even though we would, it would be like every holiday I would be there and we would hang out and stuff. And like we're still super close now. Like even though we don't see each other very often, I feel like, you know, like he's probably the most trusted person that I have in my life, and the closest thing that I would say like is to a best friend, like someone who's been in my life almost from the beginning.
Wow.
But he actually moved out to Alberta to do some stuff out there. But before that, you know, like we always kept in touch. We still do. Like he's on Facebook. He might see this, but that's who I would say. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I've had friends that I've known since grade 2. We're still in touch. He's still we meet every now and then. We don't meet as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
Close friend, great friend. So I guess yes, my best friend would be him. But we just don't get a chance to see each other as much as we would like to. A lot of our life in between, we were friends, then not friends, then you know, like we had a lot of on and off.
Yeah.
So we never really established an inseparable bond. For a couple of years we were, and then we kind of moved on to different friends. So. Yeah, it's so much easier when you have a childhood friend because they know you or you have a lot of material to talk about from the past.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's always great to make, you know, new friends as well because there's a whole sense of, you know, freshness that comes with it.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was actually thinking about that earlier today. Is that I love meeting new people, like having new friends and things like that, new experiences, new outlooks on stuff. Like. Yeah. And like when I was telling you today, like, oh my gosh, somebody added me to Facebook. Who is this? It was your wife, but
so she could watch this live stream and then log out.
But no, like just that feeling of like, oh, someone wants to be my friend, like someone new.
Yeah,
you know, I like that feeling.
Yeah.
But
and I feel like it's harder now to make friends because we're restricted to, you know, a certain circle of like coworkers or whatever. When you're in school, it's so much easier because you have all these different people from all walks of life. And then when you grow up, you sort of pick a profession or you pick a career or you sort of get into one. So you meet like, you know, people with the same sort of career interests or career goals. And then the whole process becomes a little bit streamlined because at work, your friends are your friends. But at the same time, like, not really, right? I mean, like,
I get what you mean. Like, there's a line between friend and coworker. You know, like I would call some of my coworkers my friends, but like in the same tone, I wouldn't, right? Because like other than you, like I don't really hang out with any coworkers outside of work.
Yeah.
So like while I would call them friends in the sense that, you know, I feel like I can talk to them and things like that, like we don't really chill.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's always going to be like some sort of barrier because you're like, you don't want to tell them everything, right? So you don't want to tell them a lot of things that you may be thinking at work because, you know, it could have repercussions when you are in an area in a setting like work. You have to be careful with what you say and who you say it to, right? Because it could lead to something, or you could, you know. So I feel like there's a lot of people kind of just monitor themselves and they kind of raise barriers. So they're like, okay, I'm not going to talk about my religious views or my political views, or not that if you're going to be a friend, you have to talk about religion, right? But there's still certain sorts of corporate ethics that come in between. You know, I think the most I've actually felt connected to a best friend or a good friend was when something went wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always the hard events of our life that kind of brought us together. So
yeah, because those are the times that you find out who is your real friend.
Yeah. When it comes to cracking jokes, you could meet anyone and crack the same amount of jokes, and then you could just call it a night and then walk separate ways, right? But like you said, hanging out with somebody after work or in you know, in a different sort of setting, and multiple settings. One is like at home, at work, at out with other people. So it gets harder to meet people, basically, is what.
It does, and we touched on that a little bit last week about how it's becoming harder and harder to meet people because you know, people don't like to socialize. But two more topics I think we'll touch on, and then we'll just leave it for this week. One that was actually just brought up in the chat: can guys and girls just be friends?
Yeah.
So that's my feeling, is that I feel that guys and girls have the capability to be just friends, but what you need to ensure is that there are clear, defined boundaries. There can't be any room for interpretation. So what I mean by that is, so it's completely different when you're single and when you're in a relationship. So when you're single, I mean, do whatever you want, but like what you need to be cautioned about is that if this is someone that who is your friend, and you know that's all you want from them, you know that you only like them as a friend, you need to make sure that that's clear, because I feel that it's very easy to see signs of when someone is attracted to you. I feel like unless, you're very oblivious to social cues, that you can tell when someone's starting to get feelings for you, or someone starting to pay you a little bit more attention.
So there's a lot of things with that. Like there's, some people are very narcissistic and they misread signs. So there's
true.
There's two spectrums to that.
I'm
glad you brought that up. Yeah. Sorry, continue with that. I jumped.
So I like. It's good that you brought that up, because I agree with you that there are narcissists out there, or just people that
misread signs,
are paranoid, and like they might think that any little thing is a sign that someone might like you. So that's why it's a good thing to define those boundaries. And how do you define those boundaries? Well, everybody does things differently. Like it might just be that you don't cross that border of like having certain kinds of discussions with these people. You don't have sexual discussions with these people. You don't have like risque discussions. There's no flirting that goes on between the two of you.
With me, especially my high school time, I made a lot of friends with women, like girls.
Yes.
I had more friends that were girls than guys, because with guys, I really felt out of place. Like a lot of teenage guys, or especially the ones that went to my school, they would either talk about a handful. They would have a handful of topics they would talk about. It would be something related to some sort of like, stuff that I like, video games, movies, that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, these are my people.
Yeah.
And then there would be some who talk about girls, but in a bad way. Like, you know what I mean? They were very
like not respectful.
They weren't respectful. They were judgmental, or they just kind of make up gossip and spread it. Other guys were like really into sports. That wasn't my thing for
Me neither.
A large portion of it. So I was like, okay, I can't really connect with you. I don't care who's doing what and what
Yay
league.
Sports.
So with guys, I had a hard time because I felt like they all talk about one thing. They have one guy's a crush on a girl, and then everybody's just kind of going on about it, making inappropriate jokes or forcing them into inappropriate situations. So with guys, I felt like they had, I felt like I was not in the right group when I hung out with a bunch of dudes, just 'cause I felt like they weren't mature, or that kind of emotional awareness that goes with it. So with girls, I had a great time, and it wasn't related to anything.
Yeah.
But here's my thing with it. So we would just hang out. We would never talk, like it would never get awkward. Neither of us would flirt. We know exactly when to stop, whatever.
Yeah.
So even if you have a defined friendship with somebody of the opposite gender,
yes,
especially in a place like high school or anything, you two could be fine, but some third person is going to walk by and be like, ooh, a couple.
Yes.
Right? So
and then that sometimes plants the seed of
everybody starts to gossip, or people start to say stuff, and then you're like, you know what, I have nothing against you, but if I keep hanging out with you, other people keep talking smack, right? I think that is the biggest challenge between guys and girls. Yes, some friendships are not platonic.
Yeah.
And the other person's in denial. Like, they're like, oh, no, this person doesn't like me, but the other person's secretly in love with them. Like, that's the most cliched version of a friendship that I can think of as to why it shouldn't be a friendship, or why it ultimately leads to more than friendship or an awkward fallout.
Yeah.
But I feel like other people kind of make it worse. So you could have a partner who you're friends with.
Yes.
But other people may not let you keep that friendship for the way it is.
So it's true. And then it gets into a situation where, like you said, there might be nothing going on, but because of the perception, it doesn't matter what you say, or it doesn't matter what's actually happening. People are going to think that there is something going on. But like the simple answer to the question is that yes, guys and girls can absolutely be friends. I have a lot of female friends because I get along with females better than I get along with males. And there are a lot of these female friends that I would never, I've never thought about them in that way. Like, they're completely friends to me. Like, I wouldn't say that they're sisters or anything like that, but I definitely wouldn't see them in like any kind of a sexual or relationship or more than a friend way. So,
but see, now, thank you, Christina, for your input. Now she's asking, what if the line gets crossed, right?
So
you want to maintain that friendship.
So that's the problem, is that if you've let the line get crossed, because the line getting crossed is all about the boundaries that you've set up. So one person might express an interest, but I don't believe that actual boundaries can get crossed unless you've allowed a certain situation to come about.
Or see, here's a hypothetical. What if the person's like, okay, yeah, I know we were supposed to be friends, but now I like you more than a friend?
So that's the thing. So that's not a boundary being crossed. That's them expressing their feelings. But no boundaries have been crossed yet because nothing has happened. They've expressed their feelings. So what I would say to that is that that's very much dependent on that person, the person who expressed their feelings. If they're willing to accept the fact that all you're ever going to be is just friends and nothing more, and that but this is the thing, you have to make it clear to them. You can't beat around the bush. You have to tell them, look, this is not going to happen. I mean, in a nicer way. I'm paraphrasing here, but you need to let them know this isn't going to happen. I only see you as a friend. I'm only ever going to see you as a friend. I think you're a great friend, but I don't see you as more than that. Are you willing to be in my life and respect my boundaries? And we can still be friends. And I believe that that's possible. I believe that you can be friends with someone that has told you that they have feelings for you, but they need to be able to respect those boundaries. And if they're not respecting those boundaries, then you need to separate from that person until they've gotten over you.
Now, see, my thing with that sort of scenario would be if the other person has crossed the boundary or they've entered into a zone that is no longer just friendship anymore, it really does come down to the other person and what kind of relationship you had.
Yes.
Because then you're entering dangerous territories. If you're wanting to maintain friendship where the other party wants to do more than friendship, or wants to have something a little bit more than that, you got to be careful because a lot of times you may... their heart may be broken. Yeah,
and
your heart may be broken, depending on which side you're on. You could be the one who's in, who may want more than friendship, and the other person just wants friendship. So be careful with that. But it's a very gray area.
It's a very tricky situation, and again, I still feel very strongly that it's about boundaries and the boundaries that you set.
Be prepared for awkward moments.
Yes,
that's what I would say. I would say be prepared for awkward moments. Somebody's heart's going to get broken, or somebody's going to make a move that they shouldn't have, or something's going to be said that shouldn't be said. So, when it comes to that phase, things get tough.
So here's the thing about that as well. And if this person claims that they like you, they have feelings for you, they're in love with you, whatever the case may be, if they care about you as a person and they care about maintaining the friendship, they'll respect your wishes, they'll respect your boundaries. If they don't respect your requests and they don't respect your boundaries, then they don't respect you.
And sometimes you got to make a hard decision.
Yes, you do.
Do you want to take it a next step further, or do you want to cut it off completely? Sometimes you got to make that choice. Sometimes that's the only choice you were left with.
Yes.
It depends on people, and it's a very difficult thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in those situations. Like, I've been on both sides of those situations, actually. I've been the one who has wanted more with a friend, and they've been the one telling me, no, we're just friends, we're just friends, we're just friends. So it came to a point where I had to, and I touched on this a little bit in the last podcast, where I had to make a decision that I'm going to get over it because this friendship means more to me than my feelings. Because obviously this is not going to work. It's not a two-sided thing. So I'm going to get over it because I really care about this person. And I did. And it was fantastic. Nothing from that point forward. There was never a boundary crossed, never anything like that from theirs. And I've been the one where there's been friends that have wanted to be with me. And I'm like, I'm flattered, but I'm not interested in you in that way. And then I'm like, okay, well, I can stay friends with you, but you need to respect that there's boundaries, and I'm going to have girlfriends and I'm going to have relationships and things like that. Are you okay with seeing me in a relationship with someone else and not getting upset with me or holding it against me or being bitter towards me? And that's really what it comes down to, is that how do they handle your boundaries? If they respect your boundaries, then yes, guys and girls can be friends regardless of whether feelings have been made known. And the second part of this is that if you have feelings for that person
and also friends with you,
and they have feelings for you, then don't be in a relationship with someone, or don't be friends with that person. Those are the two options. If you know that you're getting feelings for someone and they're friends with you, and they have feelings for you, it's a problem waiting to happen. It's even if nothing does happen, it's a bad situation to be in.
So, and what about let's just be friends? like exes when they say, you know what, we don't want to be in a relationship. Can we just be friends? Can you really be friends? I personally have had no luck. I was not able to maintain a friendship with any of my exes. I'll just be upfront and honest about that.
And that's the thing. It depends. Yeah. Again, gray area. Yeah. Because I have an ex who I've been friends with for several years.
Right.
Because I don't see her in that way. I would never see her in that way again. Nothing wrong with her, of course. Yeah. But it's just that we had our time, and that time is done.
I guess it all depends on how your relationship ended.
Yes.
How did they become an ex in the first place?
Exactly.
Was it a mutual understanding that you both decide you want to take things a little bit slower, or you want to take a step down? Was it a rough breakup?
Did they do something to you? Did you do something to them?
Yeah. And then at that point, do you want to be friends with somebody who put you through a tough spot?
Yeah. What
most likely people will say no.
Yeah. And it's about, like, how are they overall as a person? Is what happened, was that like an isolated thing, like, or is that part of their character? Like, is their character overall something negative that is it making your life worse for them to be?
It's easier to manage if it's just the two of you and you're just, you're no longer a couple, you're just friends.
Yes.
The hard part comes in when somebody gets another partner, like, you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, or they get a girlfriend, boyfriend. And are they comfortable with you still talking to?
And that's the true test of the.
And that's where you have to, again, it's a make a decision time, and you have to respect that. If, let's say your ex meets somebody else and they're in a relationship now, and they're no longer comfortable talking to you because their partner told them not to talk to you. Yeah, you have to respect that. You have to give them that space, because it's not, some people, it's not something new to find out that somebody's not okay with another person talking to their ex. That's not a new concept. A lot of people have had that kind of problem. They will have that problem. They'll continue to have that problem. So you may want to retain a relationship, but there may be a time where you got to let go.
So and that's another good thing that I'm glad you touched on, because a lot of the times we 100% agree on things, which is fantastic. But in this kind of situation, I it's not that I disagree. It's just that I feel slightly differently. Like
good. Let's add some spice to this argument.
I'm a much more open-minded person, so I'm open to a lot of different things. So here's the very important differentiator in this situation. If I know that I don't have feelings for this person, and I'm not going to have feelings for this person, and there's not going to be anything with this person, then I don't feel the need to delete them or stop talking to them or whatever.
You can tell your partner confidently that, you know what, you got nothing to worry about.
Exactly. Yeah. You have nothing to worry about. This person is not a threat. Believe me, this is the last person on earth that you need to be concerned about. But if there's any doubt in your mind, or in my mind, whoever that we're referring to, if there's a doubt, if there's some lingering feelings or unresolved emotions, then if you're in a relationship and now, number one, if you're in a relationship and you have lingering feelings for your ex, that's already a problem. But if the person you're with tells you, get rid of this person, I'm not comfortable with this person, don't talk to this person, then don't talk to that person. If you know that there's a potential, even like a 1% chance, then just don't.
And you got to talk this out with your current.
Yes. Like, you find out, like, ask them, like, what is it about this person other than the fact that they're an ex? Because obviously everybody's a little bit uncomfortable about exes, but other than the fact that it's your ex, what specifically about this person is making you uncomfortable?
Like, I've known that. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed in other people, and I've had friends, I personally haven't had this experience myself, but I've had friends who've been like, you know what, he or she still talks with their ex.
Yeah.
And I think it's just jealousy on the new relationship, that they still have something from that has a little bit more history than they do, has a little bit more intimate feelings than the current relationship does. And I think that's more on the new partner or the new relationship that you start or your other person starts. It's getting confusing as to who I'm talking about now. But, okay, let me rephrase this. Like, you have to talk it out with your relationship. If you're in a relationship, you're still friends with your ex, you got to talk it out with your new relationship. Listen, like you said, don't feel threatened by it. Don't feel jealous of it. I have some past with this person. Yeah. And we still have a spot for each other. And if the other person's not comfortable with it, that's something you have to, again, kind of really get into. And if they're never going to be comfortable with it, then that's your kind of you need to make a decision.
And that's the thing. You have to pick your battles. That's the thing. If don't fight for the wrong people.
Yeah.
If it's someone that you know is going to be a problem to you as well, let it go. Like, what are you gaining by keeping that person in your life? You're causing conflict in the relationship, and it's something that it's not worth it.
And are they asking you to delete your ex? Like, if they're asking you to take these drastic measures, just out of sheer jealousy or sheer paranoia or whatever it is, then that's kind of concerning. But then on the other side, if you're just stuck to your ex because of that reason, there's no real friendship to, like, there's nothing of value here added anymore. Are you just hanging on to something that's stuck in the past? You know, like, you gotta either move forward and let go of the past, or you kind of stay in the past and you accept that you can't have any future relationships because you're always going to be stuck in a place that you're not right now. So
so to leave it off, I'll just share a brief experience from myself. I was talking to a girl for a bit, and some of my friends will know because I've told them, a lot of them, this about this person. They were adamant that I delete my ex. Like, not just not talk to them, like delete them off everything, out of my phone, off my Facebook, every point of contact. And this wasn't even a person that I really talked to. And but
they were just there.
We're fine. Like, this is one of those exes where it's like, never in a million trillion years would anything ever happen again.
Right.
But
you have a lot of exes you just completely.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, this was the one. Like, that she just got stuck over. And but I pushed back, and like, it just kept, like, she just kept like hitting the wall, like, in this case. Yeah. We're just like unstoppable force, immovable object. Like we can't come to any kind of a compromise. Like, I was like, okay, like, I won't talk to her that often. Like, I already don't talk to her that often. She's like, no,
move countries, change your name.
Yeah, it was like that. I was like, no, off Facebook, off Instagram,
delete your
off
Facebook.
This, off whatever. Like, and I was just like, what? Like, and I'm asking her, like, what is it about this person that makes you feel so threatened? And she wasn't able to give me a valid answer beyond, like, it's your ex. I just think that's weird. I'd never be friends with my exes. That's just ridiculous. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, on one hand, I understand. I respect everybody's feelings. I understand that it can be uncomfortable to have an ex in the picture. But on the other hand, like, do you trust me? And what does that say? Yeah, like, clearly. But it's like, this was a person who I never gave any kind of a, like, any kind of reason to question like the relationship or question the trust. Like, nothing had indicated or happened up to this point that would give her a reason to act this way, basically. But
so that's just a bias that you're fighting against. That's not here nor there, right?
The only thing that I can think of is something must have happened with one of her exes, and maybe that, but it was just a hot button topic. In the end, I did it just to stop the arguments.
Wow.
And I actually told the person, like, I told the ex, I was like, hey, I really don't want to do this, but I hope you understand, like, this is for my relationship, and like, it's nothing against you. We're fine. Don't think that we're on bad terms. But, you know, but it made me bitter, you know, because I really didn't feel like I should have.
Yeah. It's just, it'll be lingering in you.
Yeah. But, anything that you want to leave off on?
No, that's pretty solid.
All right. Well, I feel like we've done quite a bit today, actually.
Now, to sort of recap everything we talked about, you know, we have opinions and strong opinions about how certain things are and how certain things should be done. But we would love to hear different perspective. We'd love to hear, you know, a different side to the argument from what we just said. We're not experts in any sort of area
in any manner.
We've not, we're not experts on how to prevent bullying or how to deal with bullying. We're not experts on whether girl guys should be platonic and can be platonic. But like, you know, whatever it is, it's just our perspective. It's what we've been through in our sort of past that led to these kind of ideas now. But we're always, and that's the point of this podcast, that we're always open to new ideas,
of course,
and we love to learn. So whatever you guys think, whatever you guys feel, let us know. And kind of shed some light on us.
Absolutely. So don't hesitate to send us a message.
If it's going to be hate-filled,
then hesitate.
Yeah. Hesitate as much as you can.
But if not, no, like don't be afraid. Send us a message. Just let us know what do you like about the podcast. What are some topics that you might want to talk about? Do you want to give some feedback about anything that we've already talked about?
Today was a big day. We played some video games. We talked about some comics and movies, and then we had a little bit of a lifestyle segment. I think that's something that we're going to keep doing.
Yes.
We're going to have different parts of our podcast, and really the perspective is two nerds talking about life.
Yeah, and I feel like I'll probably just like spread it out throughout the week, just so that we don't, I don't post everything at once, and then everybody's like, oh my god, like there's so much information, we can space it out over a couple weeks. But I'll put up some of our stuff if you guys want to take a look at any of our social media, drop us a line, anything like that. So I'll bring that up just for some end of podcast stuff.
Join, subscribe, comment, dislike, let us know what we're doing right, let us know what we're doing wrong.
Exactly. We've got our own Facebook page, ThinkFast Nerdcast, which I'll be sharing some of this stuff to. We do have a Twitter at ThinkFastCast, and if you want to send us an email, it's thinkfastnerdcast@gmail.com. If you prefer to remain anonymous, just let us know when you send us an email, and we'll answer any questions that you might have. We'll talk about any topics.
Talk about what you posted. We'll respect your privacy.
Of course, yeah. We'll only post your name on screen for a couple seconds, so only the people who freeze frame.
Two jokes max.
That's yes. And that's about it. So privacy, like 90%, you're good. Yeah. But no, drop us a line. Let us know, what do you like, what don't you like, what do you want to hear. Any feedback we're open to. So we really appreciate whoever's listening to us live, whoever's taking the opportunity to listen to us at a later date, YouTube, wherever I end up posting this. We appreciate it, and take care. Have a great night.
We'll see you soon. Take care.